Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Just Two Brothers podcast, where we will be sharing our journey so far and some of the simple tactics we've learned that have helped us become great leaders.
In this week's episode, Ryan and I sit down to talk about please and thank you. We take some time to talk about the importance of please and thank you in our household growing up and how we've taken that and used it in everyday life at home and in the workplace. If you haven't already, we would really appreciate it if you take the time to subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google. We want our listeners to feel like part of the team. So, if you have suggestions or questions, we'd love to hear what you have to say. Send those questions to our Facebook, our Instagram, our Twitter account, or our email address, which is JUST2brotherspodcast@gmail.com. Without further ado, here is please and thank you. Welcome back, everyone. Hey, Ryan.
What's going on?
Another beautiful day.
No, it's not.
Here in Michigan.
No, it's not. It's really not. So, please and thank you. The origins. I had to do a little bit of research because I wanted to understand kind of how it came to be or where it all came from. Why do we even use that? Why do we think those are proper manners? But so please came from if you please or if it pleases you. The thing is, you're still giving direction, but it's just being polite. There's not really like it's not doing anything. You're just putting a politeness to it. You're still telling them to do something essentially. They don't necessarily have a choice.
If it pleases you, does that almost that sounds like it almost leaves it as an open-ended question?
Yeah, that too.
Like,
so they don't
please, like, will you do this for me?
And
like, if it pleases you, if this makes me happy, I will do it for you.
That's part of it too, is if it makes you happy. So, and thank you ties into that, and that's where you're welcome comes in, because that's you kind of canceling out the debt that they just gave to you. But you know what? See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
How that all works out. But so you're saying, no, that made me happy, so it's not a big deal, is what your welcome does to all of that. But so then thank you comes from think and roughly means I will remember what you did for me. But that's not even true.
I guess I always took it more of a, I appreciate that you did this. That's what I took thank you as. I appreciate it.
Much obliged translates to I am in your debt.
Huh.
So yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to do a little bit of research into it and understand it, because yeah, why the hell do we use it? If you think about it, none of it really makes any sense other than it's just manners. It
makes no sense at all, but okay.
So I'm sure you thought it was a little odd that I wanted to research please and thank you.
I kind of did.
But I like to understand why. I have in the past at job, well, I guess really just job, they called me Why. That was my nickname because I asked so many questions, and I'd just say why, because I just want to understand.
Right.
So that's where that came from, because I said why.
Yep. Yeah. Not gonna go off topic right now, but kids do that very well, and then it gets squashed.
Well, so on that note, Have you ever heard I don't know the exact saying, but something along the lines of to have the mind of a child is to there's something to do with end of life or living your life and having the mind of a child. Something along those lines, like if you could live your life in the mind of a child, how wonderful would that be? Just
You,
think about it.
yeah,
You just live in wonderment and amazement.
everything is the most amazing thing you could ever see,
Yes.
and 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 kids are so open to, I I don't want to say molding, but they're so open to suggestion and learning new things
Well, yeah, because they don't know. That's why they ask why.
because there's nothing to base there's no history to base anything
Right.
on.
Right.
So they have nothing to fear because there's nothing to worry about.
Right.
And yeah.
And they've had nothing told to them to
Hmm.
make them believe one way or another. So yeah.
That's funny that you got called why.
Mm-hmm.
About the worst thing to have to hear when you're raising little kids. And then
Oh, they got sick of it, believe
once
me.
once my kids are the age that they are now, it's, man, every time I wish you guys asked me why more. I wish I could explain things to you. And now when they do ask, we're gonna find out the answer.
Yep.
I'm not gonna give you some bullet like because I said so.
Right.
I actually start questioning, like, my kids do a good job of that. Aria especially. Dad, why did you say that we can't do this? And a lot of the times I'll sit back and I'll actually think about it. I don't know. I don't know why. It's just because it's more for me to do.
Because that's the way it is.
No, it's more. It there's usually some some reason that I have to dig deep to realize,
Is it
but like
arbitrary?
it's just something silly. It in like we were talking before we started recording, the things that inconvenience my internal scheduled plan piss me off to no end. So when my kids suggest, well, why can't we do this? Well, that doesn't work with the what I have planned out. And then I start realizing that, yep, I'm preventing you from doing this for my own selfish reasons. Like, for a while it was they're always worried about splashing puddles, and I never encouraged them. Like, go jump in rain puddles. Kind of wondered about it for a little while, and then I'm like, I'm okay with it because I don't have to clean that up. I don't have to deal with mud all over the place and mess. It saves me time. I'm fine with it. Now we see a mud puddle, go jump in it. If they won't jump in it, I'm jumping in that mud puddle. Like, I yep, I'll inconvenience myself, but they're gonna live as kids and not be discouraged from experience and shit like that.
Right. So yeah, that's a little bit of the where and why behind please and thank you. So when should you use it? Is there really a bad time?
I actually was gonna ask you the same question.
I don't think
Not thank you. I think you should always say I always say thank you. Even if it's something simple, I always say thank you. Thanks for your time, thanks for whatever.
I do, and I've noticed it more and more, and sometimes it almost feels like it's, oh man, I need to back off on how much I'm thanking people for just so the engineer at work when I have to go have them update a print or whatever dumb thing it is takes 2 seconds and it's really no trouble at all. But I still say thank you every single time. Like, okay, am I just being annoying now and going overboard? But I almost can't help it at this point. It's just ingrained in what I am.
Yep. Yeah, and I just did that. I noticed that a week ago at work too. One of the guys wiring up some stuff had a question, and he asked me whatever the question was. I helped him figure it out, and he said thanks. I said no, thank you, and I walked away. Why did I say thank you?
If I do that same thing.
But at the same time, I'm thinking that's me doing I get to do my job and help him. I get to assist somebody else and teach them something. I'm just I'm thankful that I get to do that. So if you ask me for my help, I'm going to thank you for allowing me to help you. I want to help people. But and I guess like I said, I always say thank you. But please, I guess, is a tough one because it comes off as a question for me. Like sometimes when I'm in the middle of something, hey, can you grab that for me? Hey, I need you to do this. Go do that. Take care of this. This needs to happen, whatever. If I'm in that mode of just giving direction, that needs to be done. You do this, do this, do this. I guess I don't say please. And Arya's called me out for that multiple times. Dad, it'd really be nice if you would say please when you tell me to grab something.
It removes the harshness. It's just polite. Like that's what we talked about with where it came from. It's just polite. It takes away that command. And it makes it more of a request, yes. But by doing that, even if it is that person's job, it then takes it from you have to do what I'm telling you to you're vulnerable in that position.
Right.
Asking them to do their job, which you shouldn't have to do, and they're granting that request by doing it. But it's just basic
Which I guess I
politeness.
can see in some aspects, like with my kids, I guess I can take a step back and see that.
But at work, it's the same thing.
I
Why wouldn't it
agree.
be?
I agree.
Why wouldn't it be? They're still human beings. On the most basic level, they're still human beings.
Yes, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm
Do they
trying
not deserve the same basic common courtesies?
I agree 100%. I agree. I'm trying to think of the way to word it. If somebody's asking you, I need direction, tell me what needs to be done, what do I need to do? Do that, do this, do this. Or would you say, would you please do this and this and this and this?
I would say please.
I guess maybe that's just the bluntness in me.
And then when
from
they say, okay, yep, I'll get that done, I say thank you. And then when they
Yeah,
get it
and-
done, I say thank you again.
and I once, like I said, I always say thank you. But maybe it's just maybe that's the military side of me, that it's if you ask for a task and you need a task, I'm going to tell you what you need to do. I'm not going to ask you to do, I'm not going to say please. I'm not going to ask you to do it because you are asking for something. You're asking me, I'm going to give you direction.
Yeah, but why can't you just still have, it's just manners. It's just polite. It takes away that edge.
Yeah, and yeah.
It just softens the entire situation. With no effort at all.
Yeah.
With absolutely no effort. It takes 0.2 seconds to say please. Then you can throw it at the end of a sentence and it's just as effective.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't, as long as you throw it out there, it instantly changes the situation. And just like at home, like you were talking with your kids, or you can use it. Why not use it with your spouse? How often, think back to being married or the last relationship. Did you ever say please for just a common thing that they're probably going to do anyways, would you just say
In all
please?
reality, being completely honest, I think I did too much.
Okay.
That maybe that's the part of me that is more hesitant on it, because if you ask please instead of this is what's happening and direction, you get walked all over. There's a lack of respect in that in some situations.
If you allow that to happen.
Right.
That's where you have to have the mutual respect.
And I know some, I've been in some situations and I've worked with some people where if you didn't say please, they wouldn't do it, which perfectly fine. I get it. You don't want to be told what to do. You want to be asked, and I get it. That's 100% fine. But I've been in situations where people said, "Don't ask me to do that. Tell me that's got to be done. Tell me what you want me to do. Don't ask me to do it." And that I've had people that I've worked with that have told me that. So I maybe it's the
I turn right around and I say, I'm sorry. I'm still, regardless of whether or not that's what I want you to do, I'm still going to be polite about it. I'm sorry. It's just who I am.
well,
And you move on.
and that's fair. And maybe I don't want to say cater to people, but I understand where people.
And you don't have to use it. I mean, if
No,
somebody doesn't want to,
absolutely.
then whatever. You can have whatever relationship you want with that person.
Right, right.
It doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's just there's never a reason not to use it.
There's
Yes.
any time where you
Well,
just
once a line has been, and this would be at a work
100%.
situation, if you're somebody superior and you've asked them to do it a number of times and something is not being done, at that point,
And
the
maybe
asking,
that's more.
the politeness stops. But that's where you got to have that mutual respect, and that's where you earn that mutual respect.
And
Hey,
maybe
I'm still
that's
your superior, even though I'm asking for you to do your job. That doesn't mean I'm not going to hold you accountable when you tell me no, because you can't tell me no. At the end of the day, you can't tell me no. I'm just trying to be nice about it, and we can have that respect with each other, or we can do this the hard way.
so I guess maybe that's what that's more or less what I was trying to find out. If there was a point where you have a line that you don't cross.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to, especially if you're leading people.
Right.
If you're leading a team,
right.
there has to be accountability.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where the respect comes in. Once you establish that
Absolutely.
level of respect,
It shouldn't get down to where you have to tell somebody you have to do this because I'm telling you to do it.
right, and it
should
will
never. Absolutely, but it shouldn't if you build your team the way or work with your team and know your team the way that you should as a leader.
Correct, and once you build the team and have that foundation to where new members of the team that's already the culture, so they
Right.
just fit in. Like, hey, we don't complain. We just do what we need to,
Yep.
and we move on with our day.
Right.
Once you establish that, there's no challenging. But to get to that point, you're going to have people that challenge you.
Oh, absolutely.
That-
And every time we get a new person in the shop,
and that's where you
they're
draw that
willing to
line.
challenge, and it's okay. We'll see where this goes.
We'll
We'll
do
draw
this
a
the hard
line.
way. Yep.
We'll figure out where your line is, and you'll know where my
Yep.
line is, and then we'll have a mutual understanding
Mhm.
from it.
I flat out tell my teams, guys, the write-up is the last thing I want to do. I'm going to give you every opportunity to pull your head out of your ass.
Right.
But there will be a line, and when you cross it, I'm sorry. I've helped you as much as possible.
Right.
So it's the same thing with all of it. At some point, yeah, you do have to stop, quote unquote, asking. And if they're not doing what needs to be done, it's time to tell them. But for the most part, the situation,
Right.
those are, the 20% of the time
Yeah.
situations.
Okay. Yeah. That's pretty much
Your
what
80-20 rule.
that's kind of what I assumed, but yeah, I would agree.
And yeah, there's not really many times where you can't use it at home.
Right.
Kids, spouse, it doesn't matter. Yeah, if your significant other cooks dinner or does the dishes, vacuums, does some laundry, mows the lawn, do you thank them? Most people?
Most people don't because
Exactly.
that's your marital duties. And in all honesty, 9 times
Oh,
that's one of the big things that I wanted was to feel acknowledged and appreciated.
right.
And and I lacked that, but at the same time I failed to do that in some aspects too.
And it's an easy thing to forget about
Yeah.
because, well, that's just what you're supposed to do. But it's also easy to say thank you
Yeah.
and show a little bit of gratitude for what they spent time on you.
Right, because
You think they want to do that shit? Whatever that chore is? No.
nope.
I don't want to do the chores half the time. Sometimes it can be therapeutic to go mow the lawn with some headphones in or whatever, but for the most part, I don't want to spend that time on that chore. I got other shit I want to do. They're the same way,
Well, I know. I
and they're doing that for you.
being divorced and living single for 3 years really shines a light on what somebody else does because you don't
Yeah.
have that.
Yeah.
You have to do it all. I do all the cooking, all the cleaning, all the dishes, all the laundry, cleaning the house. Well, I pass that off on your wife, but our wife, love you, Tiff. But yeah, it's a lot to keep up with one person. So Travis, when he helps me out around the house, he'll do dishes and stuff, and I thank him.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do that for me. You help me out in other ways. Like I'm just doing what I'm doing. I appreciate it when I walk in the house and the dishes are done.
Yep.
Like, holy shit, I don't have to do that now. Like, damn, man, I love you.
My wife went grocery shopping last night. I thanked her. At the end of the night, I thanked her for going and getting all the stuff for the house and whatever. The most ridiculous, like, she kind of looked at me like, what? But why not?
Right.
Just randomly. Make somebody go, oh, yeah, wow, wow. Huh, that made me feel good.
And sometimes when you know somebody hasn't gotten it in a while, hey, thanks, I appreciate you did that for me.
Yeah.
The just a little bit of appreciation that they don't usually get can change somebody's day.
But yeah, look at your home life and think, really think. Maybe you do. A lot of people are very polite,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of people also get complacent in their relationships and forget they're a human being too. They have their own thoughts and feelings and opinions.
100%.
It's not just about me. This episode of the Just Two Brothers podcast has been brought to you by us. All we ask of you is to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and follow us on social media. We are J2B Podcast. We got how about a how, because we kind of talked about when not to use it. And there's, unless you've gotten to that point in a conversation to where you need to say enough is enough, there's not
Right.
really a time not to use it. But how not to use it. And I'm guessing that's probably something you didn't think about.
Oh, I did. Because I've used it the wrong way very many. Sarcasm is a really, really good way to sting
Okay,
people.
what do you mean by sarcasm? I want to see if you're thinking the same thing I am.
Example that you'll probably resonate with, and a lot of people will. Hey, babe, can you take out the trash? Yep, I'll get to it. Hey, can you take out the trash? Yep, I'll get to it. Hey, thanks for taking out the trash, as they take out the trash for you.
Okay.
That kind of stuff, the sarcastic, passive aggressive
Okay.
use of it.
Okay.
That's I've been
Yeah,
a
I
culprit
hadn't
of
thought
that
about
many times.
that. I hadn't thought about it that way.
I guess I'm curious now to see what you have to say.
So yeah, I do like that though. I had not thought about it being used like that. But yeah, it is.
So you know
And it's very effective.
damn well.
It's very effective.
You're a culprit of it too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, thanks for doing that for me, by the way.
Yeah, hey, I appreciate
shit.
that.
Oh shit. I forgot about that. Yeah, I know. It's all good.
I mean, sometimes it's all in good fun. And
Yeah. Oh yeah. But it can be used.
most of the time it is in
viciously,
good
too.
fun. Like, hey, I appreciate you taking care of that for me. Like, oh, yeah, like you said, God damn it. Forgot about it.
Yep. So I had using it together and how condescending that can be.
Yep.
Tell-
Oh, yeah.
Do this for me, please, and thank you. Like you're already assuming that they're just gonna do that favor for you, whatever it might be.
Yep.
It's kind of a dick move.
Oh, yeah. I've used that one before, too. It's usually, please and thank you.
Yeah, oh yeah, it can be used jokingly too, sarcastically, but it can also be used very effectively to be a dick.
Yeah. I think I've had it used on me to be as
It's careful.
yeah. Yep. I stopped exactly what I was saying. I know there's gonna be something there, but
you got lost.
yep. But I've had people use it that way of please and thank you. Like I just kind of want to punch you in the face right now.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, I have no desire to do what you just asked me to do. Go fuck yourself.
Exactly.
So I can understand. I don't think I use it that way. More sarcastically, but I'm a very sarcastic person. So
Yeah, and that's the only time I would use please and thank you too, because I know it does sound super, super rude. So
it just sounds condescending.
oh, absolutely. And there's no reason for it.
Unless you are going out of your way to try to sound condescending.
Yeah. I can see how people wouldn't think about it and just say it. Please and thank you. Just kind of those, you're their boss, you're telling them what to do. You already know they're going to do it. So you just say it, not even thinking about it. But just don't. There's no reason for it.
Right.
Just be nice.
Yeah. Use it properly.
Be a nice person. Feels a lot better. It's good for the soul. It's not good for the ego. It's good for the soul.
Yeah.
It's definitely a blow to the ego to be nice. But if you look past your ego,
Well, that's why a lot of leaders can't do that. Can't look past their ego.
no,
Driven by ego.
right.
So you can't take a blow to it.
But it's
humble yourself.
if you look past it, yeah, it gets in the way of everything.
Just be nice.
It gets in the way of everything. So when you use it, you have to be careful and make sure that there's something behind it. You need passion behind it. You need conviction behind it, or it's going to fall flat. It can't be an empty please or thank you. You actually have to mean, hey, I am grateful for what you're doing for me. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
If you don't have it, you can pick that up, and that turns you off.
Yep, I would agree. I'm trying to think of an example of saying please in a way that doesn't resonate as just saying please.
Well, it's just whatever emotion you say behind it, but even if you can disguise it, or if you think you're disguising it, people can feel if it's empty or not. But that kind of comes out in everything you do. If it, and this pertains to the work environment, but if you're excited about what you do, which is being a leader, then there will be some level of excitement or passion behind using the terminology, because you understand what you're doing by using it.
You're working towards a goal. And
Right.
that's, yeah.
So it can be an organic passion, but you got to make sure you're doing it for the right motives.
Yeah, I guess I can't think of a negative way to use please. I absolutely can see negative ways to use thank you, or not,
Please.
or not
You can say
not
please with
use.
attitude.
Yeah, I guess.
Please go do this for me.
Yeah, especially after somebody says, "Oh, say please."
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Yep.
But even without that emotion, if you don't have passion behind what you're doing, which it ultimately is trying to be a good person, because it's good energy to just be a good person. You know what I mean? So why wouldn't you just strive to be a good person? And by doing that, you're going to have manners and say please and thank you, because you want everybody to be. Why can't you thank everybody for everything they do for you all throughout the day?
Right.
Person that serves you breakfast in the morning or
Oh,
your cup of coffee.
absolutely. Just because they're
Hey, thank you.
doing their job,
Right.
so many people look at every single individual and say they're just doing a job. Yeah, they're doing a job, but thank them for it.
Right.
You know how few, how little people in any service industry actually feel appreciated for the
And why
work that they're
should
doing.
they? Look at how they're treated.
Absolutely. But if you treat them nicely, just the different treatment you get from them
Mm-hmm.
is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
They wait staff and everything like that. You genuinely treat them well, you'll get amazing service.
Right.
And you could probably walk away without tipping them as much as somebody else, but if they treat them like shit, I don't want to serve them.
Mm-hmm.
They leave me a $50 tip, but fuck that, I'm going to be treated like shit for hours.
Right.
No way.
Right.
I guess I don't ever use it with any bad intention behind it. Or not genuinely meaning it. If I don't genuinely mean it, I won't say it.
Right. Yeah. Because you don't think like that. You're not better than anybody.
No.
Well, how many people are? So they talk with that tone to them.
I guess I could say I match people's energy with it. If you enthusiastically do something for me, I will absolutely enthusiastically thank you for it. But if you do it with an attitude and out of spite, I have a hard time genuinely thanking you. Like if you do a half-assed job of doing, like if I bought something and some customer service representative threw it at me, there's your stuff. Gee, thanks. And I pissed off and walked away instead of just grabbing it and walking away. Maybe.
So at the same time, why are you allowing them to dictate the situation?
Oh, absolutely. And that's,
you can still be a nice person, a good person, and turn the other cheek.
And I guess I'm speaking more from my past experience because I've started to become more aware of that and stop myself from it, especially having kids and knowing that they're watching everything that I do.
What's the golden rule?
See, I don't completely trust that. Treat everybody like you want to be treated,
Do
but
unto others as you want.
Yep, and if they start treating you like shit, you're just gonna continue treating them exactly how you want to be treated. There's a line you don't cross.
Why would you still interact with them? doesn't say you have to be friends with every
Oh,
single
I
person.
agree.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely agree.
And if you don't want to be friends with them, well, that rule is telling you by
But
definition, don't be
outside of
friends with them, and you
friends,
don't want
if
they won't be
if
friends with you if you're not friends with them.
100%. I don't interact with people that I don't.
So that's where that line is drawn. You're a nice person, you don't get in return. All right, see you later.
I absolutely agree. I mean, you're gonna treat people. You treat people the way you want to be treated. But yeah, if you get shitty service from somebody, I mean, I grab my shit now and like thanks and leave. But yeah, before it, fuck you, thanks, gee, appreciate you for nothing.
Right. Well, what's the point?
It's a waste of energy.
Maybe
really.
one of their parents just died this morning.
Oh, I know.
You don't know the struggle they're going through right now.
That's something that I've started to figure out the last couple of years too. Is like you have no clue.
That's a interesting one for me too.
It's hard to separate that, and everybody takes it for face value of the treatment that they get. But yeah,
but just like you, there's a story behind it.
Yeah, I know.
We all have baggage. So yeah, you have to make sure that you have that passion behind it. Because if you leave it flat, it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
And it's going to end up harming you more than it's helping you. So if that's going to be the case, just don't use it. And you'll be at least a little further ahead.
Right.
At least you're not losing respect every time you say it sarcastically to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, make sure when you do use it, you mean it. And that just goes back to just be a good person. Because it doesn't take much to be a good person.
No.
It really doesn't. That's only going to make you feel better and that other person feel better.
I agree.
You don't know what that thank you could do to them.
Right.
So, some examples. You got any? Have you used please and thank you or had it used on you in an effective way?
I'm going to have to think about that for a minute.
So, I've got one. It's not a direct usage of the words, but it's a result of my usage of the words. So I had a quality engineer at the factory I worked at who came to me for everything. Absolutely everything I'd get an email about to help him out with. And one day he apologized to me. He's like, I'm sorry I come to you for everything, but it's just so easy because you're able to get whatever it is done and you get it done quick. And why do you think that is? Why do you think I was able to get everything done all the time, no matter what it was, and very, very effectively? Because I treat everybody with respect whenever I can. I say please and thank you. That's one of the biggest, easiest things that I know I do day in and day out. The most basic things. I make people go, God, that was nice. He's a nice guy. So then when I go back to him and ask for a favor, they're that much more willing to help me out. Because I'm a nice guy. Yeah, some people are going to think I'm a little weird. Whatever. But I'm just trying to be nice. Yeah, it was funny. He apologized. I'm sorry I come to you, but it's so easy because I know you're going to get it done. I know you're able to get it done. And I used to get frustrated because I was like, why the hell are you asking me to do this? I would never say that to him. I just do it because whatever. But I was always like, why are you asking me? And then it all clicked that one day. That's why. But I seem to be like that with everybody. A lot of people liked working with me because I could get stuff done, but it's because I'm just, hey, will you please do this for me? Can you help me out, please? I need some help.
And you're usually happy to help people when they need help too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear that.
And you mentioned it, you touched on it a little bit earlier. You had said thank you, and it was you did something for somebody. They said thank you, and you said no, thank you. And that is something else I do a lot too. Because yeah, I do enjoy the leadership aspect in just about everything. So, and with that goes just helping people. So I genuinely enjoy helping people.
Mm-hmm.
So when given the opportunity to help somebody, I am genuinely, yes, I am
It
overusing that
it
word.
feels so good
Yeah.
to I, I
And then to say thank you, like that's almost reaffirming to myself that I did enjoy that.
mm-hmm.
Why am I going to be mad about it? I did enjoy that.
Yeah,
I enjoyed helping them, regardless of what the dumbass task was.
right.
I enjoyed helping them.
Yeah.
Not the task, but I enjoyed helping. So yeah,
And
that's my example of how it can be used or is used effectively.
on that, it's a good way to or help people with some of the situations that they might be forced to do or feel forced to do. Find a way to be grateful that you're helping somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You are helping something, some sort of a process by doing the task you're doing. You might not like doing it, but you're working towards a goal.
Right.
I mean, I think that's as a leader, your job is to put the goal that you're working towards in everybody's head so people work towards that.
So as a leader, one of your main goals is to make the workplace an enjoyable place to be.
I would agree.
So yeah, by using those words, you make the workplace that much better, that much of a nicer place to be.
Yeah. An example where I guess maybe a over exaggerated case of using please and thank you. I'm sure you've heard of the term of a work wife.
Mm-hmm.
And the ladies we have two wonderful women in the office at our work. And one of them, her and I joke about running away together. We're gonna go fly off to the Bahamas, and every time I go and talk to them, it's I keep a good attitude. Always happy to see them. Anytime they do something, thank you for doing that. Anytime I need something, would you please help me? Just and I'm overly flirty. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
that's just my personality. And they get a kick out of some of them. Sometimes they just roll their eyes cuz I go overboard, but there's I know there's a lot of things that I could ask both of those wonderful women to do and they would do it for me
Mm-hmm.
that they wouldn't do for anybody else.
Exactly.
And and I know that I've just built that with them and they ask me to do things for them to help them out that I don't question it. Just like you said, you don't know why you do it. You don't know why you're always asked to take care of things, but it's hey, can you take care of this paperwork for me? Or can you fill this out for me? I don't understand it and I can't get other answers from anybody else. Yeah, happy to help you.
Yep.
Or I'll go get the answers and I'll bring it back to you.
Yeah.
Yep, it inconveniences me a little bit, but it
You
all
know,
works
next
out
time
in
you
the
need
end.
something done, you can go up there and say, "Can you please help me out?" And they're gonna do it.
Yeah. And there's no
And
there's
I
no scoreboard, there's no point system of
no, but
anything
I'm
kept.
willing to bet that subconsciously you're tracking it with please and thank yous.
It-
Pleases and
I
thank yous.
I 100% agree with that. It's a subconscious IOU one.
Kind of,
It's
yeah.
an IOU
Yep.
and it will be returned.
Mm-hmm.
And in reality, I mean, that's a I was going to bring up, it's funny that we get on that topic. I was going to bring up, I was listening to an audiobook actually of How to Talk to Anyone by Leil Lowndes, and
Okay.
she mentions it in that book, the point system, how that works.
Yeah, and it's a subconscious IOU almost.
So she mentions it in How to Talk to Anyone. There is a subconscious point system with every interaction, and that's how you just continue relationships. Is there should always be some sort of a, hey, can you do this for me? Or it's a good way to build rapport with somebody.
Right.
Ask them to do you a favor. If you ask somebody to do you a favor, they're more than likely to think of you in a more positive way. And it's just an odd point system, and then they're going to come to you to ask you for a favor.
Yeah.
And then you like them more because they were willing to do that for you. And then it's just like it's like a tennis game. It's back and forth.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's building relationships. But I was going to bring up that book anyways because she mentions in there at one point in time, when you use thank you, you should always say thank you for whatever you just did. So the example I gave you when we were talking about it earlier, was walking past somebody in the morning saying, "Hey, good morning, how are you?" "I'm good, how are you?" "I'm doing well, thanks for asking." Just adding that thank you for asking might get their ears to perk up a little bit. But instead of just saying "I'm good" and walking past, it's ended.
Or I'm good, thanks.
Or "I'm good, thanks." I mean, that just kind of sounds like back to what you were talking, authenticity, and how you genuinely feel about it. It gives it more of an authenticity to what you're saying thank you for. You actually recognize the task that you're
feel
thanking
that
them
passion
for,
behind it.
as opposed to just a genuine "hey, thanks." So that was just something that popped up when I was listening to it, and I had to write that down. Like that'll be something that we'll talk about.
Interesting how it all ties in.
But yeah, that pretty much sums it up for me.
So I've got a couple questions for you though.
Yeah.
Growing up, how important was please and thank you? How was it taught or reinforced? And I kind of already know the answer, but I find it interesting, and I want to hear your viewpoint on it, because my viewpoint is obviously going to be different from yours.
Oh, it's actually super funny that you say this. So as you know, everything was, if you didn't say please, you didn't get it. What's the magic word? Please. Or thank you. If you didn't say thank you, it got taken back from you. Someone gave you something, didn't say thank you. All right. What? You were just going to take it. No, thank you. Please and thank you had to be said for everything. It was just good manners. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Which is still exactly how you seem to live. So I don't see that it doesn't seem to have changed for you. So I'm interested to see what you have to say. But it's funny because I kind of raise my kids the same way, which is why Aria calls me like, "Dad, it'd be nice if you said please when you ask me to grab something for you." And I actually got called out on a motorcycle trip down in Tennessee last year. We were, I think, eating ice cream or something. And I said, "Hey, can you hand me a spoon?" And my buddy's wife said, "What? Can you hand me that spoon?" She said, "I know damn well you would sit here and make your kids say please. So how about you use some manners and you can say please to me?" Son of a bitch. You got me. Yep, you got me. Please, can you hand me that spoon? But yeah, it was beaten in our heads. And honestly, Josh, our brother that's in between you and me, for those that are listening, 'cause obviously you know who Josh is. It'd be silly for me to explain it to you, but growing up when we would go through drive-throughs and we'd go places or we'd go out to eat or whatever, if a waitress asked, "Hey, what would you like?" and I'd just say, "I'll take this." If I did not say please, he would yell at me in front of the waitress or whoever was taking our order and say, "I'm sorry, he said please." Every single time. Every time. So, yeah. So that's my take on it.
I remember things being held on to until you said please or thank you. Yeah, and just what's the magic word? Yeah, pretty much the same thing. It was ingrained in us. And yeah, I haven't deviated a whole lot. I don't use the same tactics with the kids. I employ the same tactics I use on a day-to-day basis, which is just live by example.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to reinforce it. I'm just going to keep doing it. They're either going to do it or they're not. No sense forcing it because all it does is make the environment that much more miserable. So lead by example and hope it works. Hope everybody sees the benefits to it.
There's a point where I may every once in a while with my kids throw a sarcastic or a sort of passive aggressive but in a lighthearted tone like, "You're welcome." I'm not gonna lie, and I know damn well you can't say you've never done it. "You're welcome."
Yeah, maybe.
Without getting a thank you.
Yeah,
You did something nice, you handed it to one of your girls.
very, very possible. I'm sure it's been done.
You-
But yeah,
you're
in general,
welcome.
I don't reinforce it.
Right.
It's just I'm gonna do it and hope that they do too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought I wanted to hear if there was any different from my aspect or my viewpoint on it. So I got one more.
Yep.
Was there any sort of recognition of please or thank you in the Marines or boot camp, or was it always just fuck you? Do what I tell you.
No. There is no please or thank you. You are there to take orders. When you sign up for and in all reality, when you sign up for the military, you're there to take orders. That's what everybody expects. From the second you step on the yellow footprints at boot camp to the time that you get to your unit or whatever, you're taking orders. There's no please, no thank you. You do what you're told. And I know there's some specific examples of leaders that when it was in a one-on-one conversation, there were specific leaders that stuck out to me that would say please and thank you. They were respectful, and it was just a genuine respect of we're both human beings.
I want to quick point out that you said they stood out to you.
Oh, and his name's Joe. Funny how that works. Great guy. All Joes are. I texted him recently and I told him I wanted to thank him for the leadership that he instilled in me because he showed me a different way to lead and a different way to look at things. Funny thing about that is everybody hated him. No other upper leadership liked him as a leader. They all hated him.
That's me.
They did everything they could to hold him back from getting a promotion. One of them, for the only reason he got promoted, and I'm going to send this to him, and he's going to get a kick out of this, was because they forgot to non-rec him. For certain promotions, your leadership can put in a non-recommendation for your promotion, as long as they have a valid reason why. And he forgot to put in the non-rec for him. So that's the only reason he slipped through the cracks and got the promotion.
That's funny.
Oh yeah. He stuck out to me, and him and I had a good relationship. But at the same time, I can't even call them bad leaders. The ones that were more aggressive and everything and didn't use manners. I mean, I got what I expected out of the Marine Corps.
Right.
So I guess that's where my opinion on that is like skewed, because there were plenty of people that showed up and they weren't there to take orders. After I went through boot camp, there were so many people that showed up to our unit that just boot Marines that showed up and would ask them to do something for you.
Mm.
No, bitch, you're here to do what the fuck I tell you to do. Now go fucking do it, or we're gonna go play games somewhere else. And that's where I was, I guess, struggling with that. Is there a time and place where you don't say please and thank you? Because yeah, if you are there to do what you're told to do, and it comes down to it, I'm telling you what to do. I'm not going to ask you to do it anymore. And I guess that's the Marine Corps is directly to that. It's
And
not
that makes sense.
it's not you have to cross a boundary or you have to get to a point where I'm not doing this. Now you are doing it because I'm your manager. It's straight to that point. The military has to be that way.
And yeah, that makes
for combat
that makes sense.
reasons and everything. You can't question what you're
It's
told
the
to
military precision.
do.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna ask you permission. Hey, can you go please kick in that door and shoot those fucking people in there?
Right.
No. So that's
setting though too. I mean, take setting into account in that.
yes,
situation.
and that's where I mean that maybe that's where I relate with some of my team better than I do others. Because one of the guys that I'm really close with was also a Marine. And him, I mean, I could tell him what I need done. We both respect that there's a mission to do. There's a job that has to get done. We have to do it, whatever it's going to take to get it done. And I mean, I think maybe it's just because of where I work and the way that a machine shop operates, but everybody understands that for the most part, that you're here to get a job done, you're going to do it. So it's less of a will you please do this for me?
So
now I do approach it from that will you please do this now.
So let me ask, in that setting, do you have team members who have to do different jobs throughout their day? Bounce around to maybe a job that technically isn't something that they do every day, but you need extra help on it today.
Yeah, all the time.
Do they fight and kick and scream, or are they pretty willing?
No, I don't work on a production floor. We have maybe 25 people on our shop floor, 20 people on our shop floor, and they're chunked out in groups. And when they got to work together, I mean, they've all pretty much worked together. Benefit I have is 3 of the guys on our team all work together at a different company, and one came over, and then the other one came over, and then the other one came over. Those are 3 of the great guys we have on our team, and they all work well together, so it all just works.
Right.
We have a good team. It's an awesome team. So no, we don't deal with bickering all the time. There is some back and forth.
Okay.
I don't hear it as much because I'm not out there with them all the time, but
you don't have the complaint of, well, that's not my job, where it's just easier to ask as a favor, quote unquote a favor, even though it doesn't matter. You're their boss telling them what needs to be done. But if you approach it where you're asking them to do a favor, hey, help me out this time. I got to get this stuff out the door, which you do. You got to get some task done.
But I do with I get that from the guys that are not in my team. From guys that work on the machine build side of it, I've gotten that from them.
So if you
That's
were
not my job. I'm not doing that.
but if you were to approach it with a, hey guys, can you please help me out with this?
Mm-hmm.
Would you get a different response?
Oh, that's exactly what I've tried to switch to. When I realize if there's anything like, look, I get it. I don't want to have you do it either, but it's got to get done.
Right.
Or
And that's exactly it.
I just dealt with that recently. One of the guys doing a great job on an install wants to be done with it, ready to go back to our shop. Hey man, I got a couple things I need you to do. Could tell he's getting upset about it. I understand you don't want to do this. I want it done. I want you to be able to go back to the shop too. I don't want to be here either. But this needs to get done. So if you can help if you can help me take care of this, just get it done. Sooner you can be done over there. But I don't want to have to call you over here again because that's ultimately what's going to happen. So I'm going to have to call you back and you're going to have to do it anyways. So, can you just do this? Get done what I need to. As I add to the list, we'll get it done. But don't go rushing back over there because I need you to do it now. Otherwise, I'm going to have to call somebody else, and somebody else is going to have to tell you to do the same thing. And it usually seemed okay after that.
Yep. If you just go in there, barking orders,
Mm-hmm.
people shut down, get defensive,
And
becomes hostile, and it's not worth it.
and I've tried to if I realize that I've handled the situation badly, the Marine Corps didn't do that. If you were told something that was wrong in the Marine Corps, I never got a hey, we made a bad call. We shouldn't have done that. I did from the one guy that I respect, Joe. That's another story. But it was never a hey, we fucked up, we made a bad call. It was yep, that shit really sucked. But we got through it. Good job on you guys. You're not going to admit that you guys completely fucked that up for everybody? Like buses, waiting on buses. Wait for like 6-8 hours. They're supposed to be there like 0800 in the morning, like noon. Where the fuck are the buses? Hey, we just got off the phone. They never scheduled buses for you guys. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, the buses will be here in a couple more hours, so you guys got more time to clean your stuff. Are you fucking go? No. That's when morale drops and if you guys would say, look, we fucked up, we'll find a way to make this better, but
Do you think they did that on purpose?
No.
Okay.
I see where you're going, like a team building sort of,
Or just
there was
it sucks, doesn't it? Just deal with it. Figure out how to deal with a shitty situation.
I think there was plenty of that purposely put in shitty situations. Plenty of that throughout the rest of the stuff. There was so much bullshit with just admin nonsense. People'd fuck up, not schedule shit.
We know that.
There'd be pay issues. I went to California for 8 weeks and didn't get paid for 6 weeks. When I had my daughter at home with formula and diapers, and my fiance was pregnant at the time. I had no pay, and I was in California for 6 weeks. We're taking out of Aria's piggy bank to get diapers while I was out there because somebody messed up pay. Like, it's just stupid shit.
Yeah, and I do
it's
remember
humans
some of that
doing the job.
Right.
It's in reality, it's 18, 19, 20-year-old kids that don't have any direction, that are just, I'm going to join the Marine Corps or join the military and I'm going to get some bullshit job. End up an admin, don't give a fuck about what they do.
Yeah.
All it takes is some dipshit 18-year-old, and just because they join the military doesn't mean they're definitely not any smarter than people that didn't go to go to the military.
Right.
Chances are they're lower IQ.
Yeah.
And really don't give a shit, and probably have some sort of an attitude or some sort of a deficiency that they're
Yeah. Trying to make
lacking,
up for you. Yep.
Long-winded answer there, but
No, that's good though. So we got anything else?
no, not unless.
No, I just want to wrap it up with something I wrote down, and I had just we were looking through some stuff, some notes I made, and I had picked just this one section out, and Joe kind of said, "Oh, I like that." So we're gonna close with that little chunk I wrote down. It's not difficult. It takes almost no time or effort, and it shows gratitude, appreciation, and empathy. It shows them you recognize them as a person and that their time is valuable, not only to you, but to them. Our most valuable asset is time. Whether or not you recognize that yet or not is for another time. And by saying thank you, we are recognizing that they spent their time on you, and that generous act deserves one in return.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah. We'll see you guys all next time.